All right, let's dive right into this explainer and uncover the hidden mechanisms pulling the strings inside our minds. We're getting straight into Daniel Kahneman's Nobel Prize-winning research today, cracking open the incredibly fascinating psychology of how we think, how we absolutely fail to think sometimes, and how our brains secretly dictate our daily actions. So, I want you to start by asking yourself this really fundamental question. Why do we make decisions we later regret? I mean, have you ever bought something on pure impulse or completely misjudged a situation, or maybe confidently made a choice that just turned out to be terribly wrong? Well, this explainer is going to be a journey into your very own subconscious glitches to figure out exactly why that happens. Part 1. Meet your two minds. Basically, think of them as two totally mismatched roommates living inside your head, constantly fighting to take charge of your daily decisions. Let's try something. 2 plus 2. Bam! Instantly, effortlessly. Your brain just screamed 4, right? You didn't even have to consciously calculate it. It just happened. And that automatic rapid-fire response is exactly how your first mental roommate operates. But now, 17 times 24. Yeah, immediately, you can feel your brain forcing a shift in gears. You can physically feel your mind having to slow down, brace itself, and exert actual, deliberate effort. Your pupils probably dilated just now, your heart rate might have even ticked up a tiny bit, and this brings us right to our two distinct mental operating systems. On one side, we have System 1. It's fast, it's automatic, and it's highly emotional. It's the part of you that instantly recoils in pure fear if you see a snake on a hiking trail. On the other side is System 2. This is the slow, deliberate, and highly logical part of your brain that you literally just tried to use to solve that multiplication problem. Which leads us to Part 2, the lazy controller. Because we really need to look at what happens when our logical System 2 falls asleep at the wheel to save mental energy. You see, the catch is that System 2 is incredibly lazy. Take the anchoring effect, for example. Imagine you see a shirt originally priced at $5,000, now heavily discounted to $3,000. System 1 immediately jumps in and thinks, whoa, what an absolute steal, because it anchored right onto that initial $5,000 figure. Your lazy System 2 never even bothers to wake up and realize, hey, the shirt's actual value might only be $2,000 to begin with. Marketers use this to hijack your fast-thinking mind literally all the time. And this exact same vulnerability creates the framing effect. Think about it. If a doctor tells you a surgery has a 90% survival rate, you feel pretty reassured, right? But if they frame it as a 10% mortality rate, total panic sets in. The math is completely identical. But our lazy System 2 just stays quiet on the couch, accepting the intense emotional reaction System 1 has to that scary word, mortality. Let's look at Part 3, Traps of Easy Answers. This is all about what happens when our fast-thinking mind encounters highly complex realities. Our brains absolutely hate difficult questions. So, when faced with one, System 1 performs this sneaky little magic trick called substitution. If someone asks you a profound, really tough question like, are you truly happy in life? Your brain quietly substitutes it with a much easier question, like, how was my past week? And you end up answering the easy question, completely unaware that you just bypassed the real one entirely. That reliance on the easy path fuels another massive cognitive bias, the availability heuristic. Basically, we tend to judge how common an event is simply by how easily we can drag an example of it out of our memory. The crucial point here is that we trust those easily recalled, super vivid memories way more than we trust actual, cold, hard data. Just think about how we view travel. Airplane crashes are terrifying, massive events, and the media covers them relentlessly. Because those awful images are so easily available in our memory, System 1 wrongly screams that flying is super dangerous, even though, statistically speaking, driving your car down the street to the grocery store is exponentially more perilous. We also fall victim to the law of small numbers. If you toss a coin 5 times and get heads every single time, your System 1 insists the coin has got to be rigged. If a footballer scores 3 hat tricks, we instantly crown them a legend, completely ignoring that it might just be a lucky streak. Or even in science, a small drug trial of 30 people showing 80% success can plummet to 50% when tested on a large group. We just desperately look for solid patterns in small random samples, and that leads us to make incredibly confident, yet completely terrible long-term predictions. Part 4. The Storytelling Machine.
we need to talk about our brain's absolute hatred of randomness and its constant need to invent stories.
Kahneman really hit the nail on the head here. The human brain is fundamentally a storytelling machine. We crave cause and effect so badly that we will invent these beautifully coherent narratives to explain a completely chaotic world, building up this massive illusion of understanding while completely ignoring the huge role that sheer luck actually plays.
I mean, we rewrite reality every single day. We read biographies of billionaires and just assume their success was this perfectly calculated master plan, completely ignoring the random timing and luck involved. Or we look at tragedies like 9/11 through hindsight bias, convincing ourselves that the warning signs were obvious and, we knew it all along. We even blindly trust overconfident financial experts who claim they can predict the inherently random stock market, the illusion of validity. Ironically, our brilliant storytelling skills actually increase our overconfidence, making us significantly worse at predicting future outcomes.
Let's move to part 5, prospect theory and risk. This dives into the economics of emotion from Kahneman and Tversky's revolutionary 1979 theory. Traditional economics used to assume that humans act purely logically to maximize profit. Well, prospect theory proved we absolutely do not. The central pillar here is loss aversion. We are literally wired to feel the painful sting of a loss so much more intensely than the thrill of an equivalent win. Think about it. Losing $100 hurts so badly that you'd actually need to find $150 just to balance out your emotional state. And this leads to some fascinating irrationality. Let's walk through this. When we are presented with a guaranteed gain, a sure thing, we play it safe. We just take the money. But what happens when we face a guaranteed loss? Suddenly, we completely reject the sure loss and we choose to gamble, hoping to escape the pain entirely. It's crazy. We transform into these reckless risk takers only when we're desperately trying to avoid a sure loss. Marketers actually weaponize prospect theory against us all the time. Which pitch do you think is more effective? A 10% discount sounds pretty nice to your brain. But a 10% penalty for waiting? Oh, that triggers loss aversion. The fear of that penalty will drive vastly more people to pull out their credit cards than the joy of the discount, even though the final price is mathematically the exact same. So how do we actually defend ourselves against our own minds? Well, you have to intentionally wake up your lazy system too. When the stakes are high, force yourself to physically slow down. Don't just trust your gut. Step outside your own head and actively seek out external, objective opinions. And most importantly, ignore that fast-talking intuition of yours and actively hunt down the real base rates and statistics. You have to force System 2 to actually do the math. We've covered a lot of ground in this explainer today, from our mismatched mental operating systems to the hidden cognitive biases that secretly dictate our daily lives. So I want to leave you with this final provocative thought. The next time you are absolutely 100% certain about a big choice, just pause and ask yourself, is this the logical me talking, or is it just System 1 telling me a really good story? Keep that question in mind, and you just might change how you navigate the entire world.